Commission meeting of April 27th, 2021 to order. Roll call, please.
Anna here.
Sullivan here.
Grillo here.
Lorick here.
Kavich here.
Guzikowski here.
Donnie here. Seifert here.
And Commissioner Chandler is excused. Before we go on to the minutes, and this will give you a little bit of chance to look at it, Carrie, would you please read in the notice of video conferencing?
The City of Oak Creek is authorized to hold this public meeting remotely during the COVID-19 public health emergency under the March 16th and March 20th advisories from the Office of Open Government and the Wisconsin Department of Justice. Per the advisories, this meeting being conducted via Zoom video conference with telephone conferencing capabilities was duly noticed for the City of Oak Creek Municipal Code and statutory notice requirements more than 24 hours in advance of the meeting. Members of the public have been advised of the options for participation via direct mailing to property owners within 300 feet of a proposal, via the COVID-19 information page on the city's website, via social media, excuse me, and via the information contained on the meeting agenda. This meeting may also be viewed at the city's YouTube page, the link for which was contained in all aforementioned notice methods. The meeting recording will also be accessible on the city's YouTube page within 48 hours. Plan commissioners and their participants are initially muted upon joining the meeting. Plan commissioners and staff have the ability to mute and unmute their microphones throughout the meeting. Please mute at all times except for roll call, motions, voting, and when recognized by the chair. Roll call and voting will occur per the usual and customary procedure or as called by the mayor. The chair will facilitate questions and comments by calling on each plan commissioner or by requesting the use of the raise hand function in the Zoom webinar control panel. Only speak once you have been recognized by the chair or moderator. Applicants, their representatives, and all other participants who wish to speak will be unmuted when there is a direct request for information from the plan commission or staff. When the participant utilizes the raise hand function within the Zoom webinar control panel and the moderator verbally indicates that they are unmuted. When a phone participant dials *9 to indicate that they wish to speak and the moderator verbally indicates that their line is open. When unmuted, all participants must state their name and address for the record, then proceed with comments or questions. Questions and comments may also be entered into the Q&A function within the Zoom webinar control panel. Staff and/or the moderator will monitor this function during the meeting and provide the information requested. There shall be no private messages or side conversations during the meeting utilizing the chat or Q&A functions. Chat and Q&A messages are part of the public record. There is one or more public hearings scheduled as part of this meeting. After the chair announces the public hearing, staff will read the public notice into the record, state that the hearing is open and subject to the meeting procedure above, and provide a brief overview of the proposal. The chair will then proceed with the hearing by making calls for public comment. Following the third call for public comment, the chair will close the public hearing and proceed to consideration of the remaining agenda items. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Carrie. Appreciate that. I know that's a lot of reading. That will get us to the approval of the minutes of April 13th, 2021. Commissioners, have you all had a chance to review them? And when you are satisfied, there's no discussions, omissions, questions, comments, motion, please.
Seifert moves to approve the minutes of April 13th, 2021.
Lorick will second.
Roll call, starting with Commissioner Hanna, please.
Anna, aye.
Sullivan, aye.
Grillo, aye.
Lorick, aye.
Kavich, aye.
Guzikowski, aye.
Donnie, aye. Seifert, aye.
Thank you, everybody. That will get us to significant common council actions. If you would, please, Carrie.
Council approved the following. An ordinance rezoning a portion of the property at 9330 South Nicholson Road from RS3 Single Family Residential to A1 Limited Agricultural with no change to the FF Flood Fringe District. Also approved a resolution approving a certified survey map and variation request submitted by Mark and Kim Verhalen for the property at 9330 South Nicholson Road, and a resolution approving a certified survey map submitted by Jim Kane, Truck Country McCoy Group for the properties at 9970, 10,020, and 10,040 South 20th Street. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Carrie. That will get us to item 5A, which is our first and only public hearing. We will hold a public hearing, and it's for a sign appeal for Paul Post of Mathnasium They're doing some various vinyl stickers on the building at 7960 South Main Street. Harry, if you'd read that into the official public record, the notice.
Actually, Mayor, I'm back again, and so I apologize for the confusion.
No, that's okay. You know what? That's on me.
That's okay.
As Lori, you
Carrie,
can
I
do it.
cannot share my screen, so I hope you don't mind. I'll just proceed.
We
until
do
can-
have to read it in the public record though.
Of course, of course.
Or we should. So Carrie,
Um,
or are you doing it, Lori?
I'll be doing it. I just need to be
Okay.
able to share my screen. Thank you.
Okay.
City of Oak Creek notice a public hearing before the Plan Commission. This meeting will be held by video phone conference only. Persons wishing to participate in the video conference, including applicants and their representatives, must register via the website prior to the meeting. The video conference will begin at 5:55 p.m. to allow participants to log in. Attendees who wish to participate by phone may do so by calling City Hall 414-766-7000 before 4 p.m. on the day of the meeting. To obtain a meeting call-in number, persons who wish to view the meeting live without participating may visit the City of Oak Creek YouTube page at ocwi.org live stream. Persons requiring other reasonable accommodations may contact the city at 414-766-7000. Requests should be made as far in advance as possible, preferably a minimum of 48 hours. A public hearing for a sign appeal will be held on April 27th, 2021 at 6 p.m. via online video conference only. The applicant is Paul Post, Mathnasium. The tax key number is 813-9050-000. The property location is 7960 South Main Street. And the request is for a variance for section 17.0334, part of the Drexeltown Square Mixed Use Plan Development District General Development Plan and Regulating Plan, which states that eye-level signage is limited to one sign per 12 linear feet of storefront per retailer. If granted, the variances would allow the applicant to install 3 vinyl window decals, a 24-inch by 6-inch, 16-inch by 6-inch, and 25-inch by 6-inch on the west elevation, and 2 vinyl window decals, 14-inch by 6-inch and 21 by 6-inch on the east elevation of the existing multi-tenant commercial building. The zoning of the property is DTS MUPDD, Drexeltown Square Mixed Use Plan Development District. All interested persons wishing to be heard are invited to be present. Dated the 7th day of April 2021. Plan Commission, City of Oak Creek, Wisconsin, Mayor Dan Bukevich, Chairman. This is a public hearing. All those who wish to speak, please state your name for the record. Once you've been unmuted from the moderator, please address all questions and comments to the Plan Commission. This hearing is now open.
Great, thank you, Lori. We will now make our calls. Us being virtual, it will be via Zoom and with the hand raise function. So this is the first call. Tom, do we have anybody with us wishing to speak?
I have nobody raising their hand as of yet, Mr. Mayor. However, I do have the owner, Paul, as registered.
Okay. If Paul would like to say something, please feel free to put him on unless he for questions.
Sure, Paul, if you would like to speak, please raise your hand in Zoom here.
Yeah, this is Paul Post, Mathnasium.
Could we get the address, please, Paul?
Yeah, 7960 South Main Street.
Okay, thank you.
I don't have anything to put into the public hearing necessarily, but I am happy to answer any questions that might come up about this proposal.
Okay, Paul, stand by. We're gonna make this will be the second call, and then after we're done, we'll go to the commission. So this will be the second call. Anybody wishing to speak? Do we have anybody in the queue?
There is nobody raising their hand, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, and third and final call. Anybody wishing to speak? If there is no one in the queue, last chance. I will close the public hearing and we will move on to item 5B, which is consideration of that sign appeal. So, Lori?
Sure, if you don't mind, may we do the sign appeal and the sign plan review at the same time, Mayor?
Yes, but we'll have to vote on them separately.
Oh,
They
of course.
probably intermingle.
Okay, so the project is 7960 South Main Street. For the sign plan review, the requesting two 120-inch by 25-inch internally illuminated channel letters, which would include a cabinet pill for a tagline. Now, one sign will be located on the west elevation fronting Main Street, and the other sign will be located on the east elevation fronting the rear parking lot. Now, in addition to these two channel letter signs, there's of course the signs that were just presented to you in front for the sign appeal. This is the rendering of the vinyl decals. As you can see, you've got the east side on the left side of this document, and on the right-hand side is the west side. So pretty modest. According to the DTS MUPDD, you're allowed to have one sign per 12 linear feet, and they have 14 linear feet per elevation. So that would only allow them technically one. And then this second page shows the two internally illuminated channel letter signs.
Okay. Okay, is that it, Laurie?
That is it, sir.
Okay. We will go right to the commission, starting what would be my left in council chambers with Christine. Any questions, comments?
Yes, actually, I do have a question. Why is that additional signing? I see it's already visible from the existing one. So not sure what is the reason for those additions. So probably that's for Paul to answer.
Are you talking specifically about the signage on the door and those two women?
The three additional ones they are requesting.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's Paul question. Okay.
Yeah, so this is about the vinyl lettering on the previous page.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so what we are requesting is the addition of those white letters, the white phrases that would be on each of the windows. And the reason for that is under our franchise guidelines, they would actually like us to have much more coverage of the windows, including a 2-foot tall set of red and yellow taglines at the bottom of the windows, and about an 18-inch width on the top of the windows, showing people and covering up a lot more window space than is typical in Drexel Town Square. So what we've done is I've scaled this back as much as I really can with the franchise ownership, and included those taglines just as a something else to catch people's eye as they walk by, and to let them know that what is Mathnasium? You know, we are here for math. You can get a free assessment. Give us a call. So that's what the reason for those additional phrases on each of the windows. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay. Is that it, Christine?
Yeah, that's it for me. Thanks.
Okay. Matt, anything from you?
I have nothing.
Okay, Dawn?
Yeah, I have a couple questions. We always let all the businesses have the hours on the door, correct?
Boy, that Lori, I don't know about that one. I don't know if you've done a lot in Town Square.
I have not, so Carrie might be best to
You know,
address.
my memory is, unfortunately, I think we kind of count it, which is kind of cheesy, but Carrie?
We always allow the hours of operation to be posted on the door. And in fact, the only thing
Oh,
in
okay.
these proposed vinyl signs that doesn't necessarily meet the Well, it doesn't cover more than 10%, but the hours of operation is the only portion that really makes it opaque. The rest of the vinyl on the door itself is compliant.
Got it.
Okay,
Okay.
and it looks like on the Main Street side, it doesn't have the hours on the door, according to the little drawing.
I believe they are. It's on the parking lot side, and you can actually see it on the picture I have up right now. It's in the red block. I know it's very difficult to read.
Right, but,
whether-
right, right. It's only on the parking lot side, not on the Main Street side. Would the hours be?
According to this rendering, no.
Okay.
Boy, would we allow?
I can speak to that if you'd like.
Oh,
me
yeah,
to.
go ahead, Paul.
Because we are going to be having parents dropping off and picking up their children, we are actually planning to use the parking lot side of the building as our main entrance. So the Main Street side would actually be, that door will remain closed and locked during most of the time that we are in business from a safety perspective. So that's the reason that we have the hours on the parking lot side as opposed to on the Main Street side.
Just a question, and this is for Lori, possibly Carrie. Can we allow, if we allow the times of operation, can we allow it on the west side as well? Just, I think it would be a benefit one way or the other.
I agree. I don't see why there would be an issue with this.
Okay, I mean, it's totally up to the applicant, but there's a lot of foot traffic on Main Street as well.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I can tell you that what we have typically done is counted the door separate from the windows themselves for this very reason.
Okay. Okay, that's what we did in the PUD?
Maybe not necessarily in the PUD, but in practice.
Okay. So is that a no?
No, it's fine.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, Paul, I guess that's an option for you. So,
Thank you.
sorry, Dawn, I cut you off. I know you got more.
Nope, that's all I have.
That's all you got? Okay. Greg?
Thank you. No, I didn't really have anything, but now that this was kind of talked about, and the hours are not on the Main Street side, is there any plan to put, please use other entrance or anything if that door is always going to be locked to direct people around to the other door?
Yeah, I think if that would be allowed with that is a good idea to put something up that would clarify that.
And does that, I guess that would be a Lori question, does that then need to be included in this proposal because that would be considered a sign?
I think it does, actually.
Okay, good catch, Greg. I personally would be in favor of it. We want these businesses to succeed, particularly here. And I don't find this obtrusive, but
Mr. Mayor,
yes.
I think if we have pretty much the same kind of coverage on the parking lot side door as the Main Street door, we'll be fine. So if they want to add hours of operation to that door, it's fine. If they want to say, please use parking lot in the place of the phone number on the Main Street side, they can certainly do that. I think that door would then be compliant.
Okay, thank you for the clarification, Carrie. So,
Okay, thank you. I have nothing else then.
okay, Chris?
Nothing for me, thank you.
Okay, Don?
No questions.
Fred?
No, all my questions have been answered. That's
Yeah,
it.
mine's just the same. I know this really isn't a fire thing, but he is nice enough to show up. So, Assistant Chief Havey, anything?
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. No comments or questions. Labeling does help us with the signs.
Okay. Okay, as I said, I don't have any problems with it. And again, if you want to work with staff as to the directional sign or, losing the phone number, I would encourage it. we want you to be successful, particularly at Town Square. We have some dark spots there, and I'm very happy you are turning the lights on in that one. So if there's no other questions, conversation, motion, please, on, and we are on 6A. Sorry, I called, or 6B. I called it 5B, but it's 6B, or 6A.
So we will make a motion first for the sign appeal, followed by the plan,
Yes.
please.
Somebody want to take that? 6A first, please.
I can go. I gotta get it.
Lorick moves to approve a sign appeal submitted by Paul Post Mathnasium to allow applicant to install 3 vinyl window decals, 24-inch by 6-inch, 16-inch by 6-inch, and 25-inch by 6-inch on the west elevation, and 2 vinyl window decals, 14-inch by 6-inch and 21-inch by 6-inch on the east elevation of the Mathnasium tenant space within the existing mixed-use building at 7960 South Main Street.
Seifert seconds.
Roll call starting with Commissioner Sullivan.
Sullivan, I.
Grillo, I.
Lorick, aye.
Bukovic, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Hold aye.
Seifert, aye.
Hannah, I.
Excellent. And we are going to entertain a motion on 6B, and that is the sign plan review. We pretty much covered both.
Hannah moved that the Plan Commission approves the master sign plan submitted by Paul Post Mathnasium for the tenant space located in the mixed-use building at 7960 South Main Street.
Seifert seconds.
Roll call, starting with Commissioner Carrillo.
Grillo, I.
Lorick, aye.
Bukovic, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Hold aye.
Seifert, aye.
Hannah, I.
Sullivan, I.
Okay. That will now get us to 6C, and that is review conditions and restrictions for MATC and their proposed solar arrays on the property at 6665 South Howell. Harry. Thank you, Lori. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So at the previous meeting, we had reviewed a conditional use permit request for the property for solar panels installed at MATC. In the midst of preparing the conditions and restriction for tonight's review, staff found out that they actually had a previous conditional use permit for solar arrays. So this is actually technically an amendment. And the reason that we cannot just proceed with what that previous approval was is because that approval was actually very specific to number and location. So just to get that clarified, that's why this looks as an amendment as opposed to just a regular conditional use permit. So the proposal that was before the Plan Commission and included in these conditions and restrictions includes that area that's about an acre north of the buildings. And these are considered accessories, which is why they need a conditional use permit. So just to refresh everybody's memory, these are the locations. The other location is actually on one of the south corners of the building for the original approval. It was for only 1 or 2. So this is substantially more than what the previous approval included. Just to give everybody a visual reminder of what we're looking at. Of course, it's not to this extent, but it gives you an idea visually of what will be put in that 1 acre area, and that will be fenced. So if we turn to the conditions and restrictions, under section 2B, solar energy collectors shall be installed per the plans approved in ordinance 2542 and these conditions and restrictions. So just making everybody aware that there was a previous ordinance so that there's no confusion as to how many and where the solar energy collectors are approved on this site. Under section 3A, the uses allowed on the property shall be limited to those allowed in the I-1 district. These conditions and restrictions and all sections of the code. There shall be no outdoor storage of equipment, parts, or other materials not directly associated with the operation of the solar energy collectors within or adjacent to the enclosed areas in the approved plan. So in other words, If it's not related specifically to the operation of these solar collectors, you can't put it in the fenced area. Solar energy collectors shall be constructed and maintained in accordance with these conditions and restrictions in all applicable sections of the municipal code. And all signs shall conform to the provisions of code. There weren't any signs that were requested, but that's in there just in case there would have to be a sign installed. Under section 6, we have setbacks that have been defined. The solar energy collectors essentially were proposing that they meet the requirements as if they were a building and a primary building. In the previous conditions and restrictions, there was a much larger setback, probably just identifying where on the property those were restricted to. However, with technology being what it is and encouragement of these kinds of alternative energy sources, we felt that restricting them to an excessive setback like 200 to 500 feet may not be applicable in the future. So any extension, of these solar collectors would still have to come back to the Plan Commission, but they would not necessarily be held to such a large setback as in the previous time. Time of compliance is still standard for 12 months to get them installed per the plans. And then section 8, we are proposing a duration of the conditional use to be for a period of 10 years. And of course, the applicant can always come back and request that that be extended. And with that, there is a suggested motion for approval on the screen. Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you very much, Carrie. Tom, is anybody out there wishing to speak, the applicant, anything like that? I know it's not a public hearing, but anybody with us?
I do have somebody registered for this.
Oh, okay, please allow them to speak.
Kelly, you can unmute. Just please state your name and address for the record.
Hi, I'm Kelly Check. The address is 6665 South Howell Avenue. I actually don't have anything to add, but if you have questions, I'm here.
Okay, thank you, Kelly. Hold tight. We will go to the commission now and see. So let's start with Commissioner Siebert. Fred?
No questions at this time.
Hey, Don, Commissioner Danny?
I have no questions either.
Commissioner Guzikowski?
No questions.
Commissioner Lorick?
No questions, thank you.
Commissioner Carrillo?
Nothing for me.
Commissioner Sullivan?
I have nothing.
And Commissioner Hanna?
I have nothing, thank you.
I don't either. Carrie, I just want to thank you for explaining the setbacks and being proactive and taking some action, you and your group, on that. Appreciate that. So if nothing else, motion please on 6C.
Seifert moves that the Planning Commission recommends that the Common Council adopt the conditions and restrictions as part of a conditional use permit for solar energy collectors on the property at 6665 South Howell Avenue.
And
Guzikowski will second.
okay.
Okay, we got a couple seconds. That's good. They can sort that out. We will go to roll call, starting with Alderman Lorick.
Lorick, aye.
Kavich, aye.
Guzikowski, aye.
Oldani, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Hannah, I.
Sullivan, I.
Carrillo, I.
Okay, that will get us to item 6D, and that is consideration of a temporary use permit. This is for Ozinga Ready Mix Concrete for a temporary portable batch plant and crushing operation at 841 West Ross and Cary.
Sorry, Mayor,
Oh,
it's
Lori?
me again. I don't
Man, I
keep
just
confusing
cannot.
you.
No, that's just me. I'm just not that sharp sometimes.
I think from now on, we're gonna try to on the agenda who will be speaking, just to make.
It's okay. It adds an air of excitement, doesn't it, everybody?
We need a little more excitement in our lives. So this is a proposal for a temporary use permit for Ozinga, and Ozinga has come in front of us several times in the past, so 2018, 2019, 2020. And they're requesting this temporary use permit to run until December 31st of 2021. They anticipate to have approximately 110 crushing bays. Like in the past, there's several projects going on around us, and this is the reason why Ozinga is requesting this permit. We have gone ahead and issued them 2 14-day temporary use permits just to get them to this date, our Plan Commission meeting date. Unlike previous years, though, this time they will have a small window where they will not be crushing their own concrete. They're working with another project in the area, basically crushing the product on site and then trucking it. Instead of trucking it to the landfill, they're going to actually use it as a base for the new project. So this is just one difference from previous years. So the recycling process consists of a company mobile crushing crew. Here, let me just get to this next page. I don't know if this is very clear, but there is the crushing operation back through here, where you can see my cursor. This will create a stockpile of approximately 30 feet high by a stacking conveyor for consumption. And then the days of the operation for the crushing is proposed to be Monday through Friday, 7 to 4 p.m., which is exactly what it was in previous years. The operation will comply with noise standards. Dust and debris control measures will be maintained on site. And the staff encourages the applicant to still coordinate with the water and sewer utility for hydrant or other water needs. One of the differences from previous years is the staff has become aware that there's an increase in white milky substances, solids in the city's drainage system adjacent to the property. So staff suspects that some of this might be runoff from the crushed material. So the staff recommends that inlet protection be implemented to minimize the runoff from entering the drainage system. This proposed use is suitable for the location, given the fact that the existing permanent use of the property is a concrete manufacturing plant and has been approved previously with no code violation complaints. There is a suggested motion contained in your packet. If you'd like me to, I can go through all those items. That all applicable building and fire codes are in effect, that the hours of operation for crushing be limited to Monday through Friday between 7 a.m. and 4 p.m., that the temporary use shall expire on December 31st, 2021, that crushing is limited to Ozinga concrete with the exception of this project. No materials from the other properties or work sites shall be brought to the site for crushing. The on-site airborne dust and debris control measures are utilized throughout the operation, that the stockpiles are restricted to the location as shown on the approved site plan and may not exceed 30 feet in height, that any truck traffic associated with the temporary use is restricted to state and county highways, that a street sweeper is utilized minimum of once per day, that storm drain protection be utilized to minimize suspended solids from entering the city drainage system, that the property is returned to its original condition, all temporary equipment and stockpiles removed within 14 calendar days following the expiration of this temporary use permit. Here.
Thank you very much, Lori. With that, Tom, is the applicant with us? Do they want to say anything before we go to the commission? Or is anybody out there?
Justin might be with.
Justin?
Yep, we do have Justin.
Okay, if Justin would like to say something or just stand by for questions, his choice.
Justin, you can unmute your mic if you state your full name and address for the record.
Justin Cradaville, 8356 Greenbrier Road, Wind Lake, Wisconsin. I'm available to answer any questions that the commission may have.
Okay, hang tight, Justin. We'll see. Let's go to commission, starting with Commissioner Hanna.
Yes, I do have a question, and maybe Lori have already answered, but maybe I missed it. So how is the entrance to this site being controlled? Is it like a stop sign or a signal, or what is it controlled with?
Sure, it's the entrance is on Rawson, just a little bit east of 13th Street, and it isn't a controlled intersection.
So how are we supposed, I guess then my question is, are we suggesting to control that access with maybe stop sign flaggers, especially with those trucking going in and out? Sometimes they're visible, sometimes not.
Maybe Matt would be better equipped to answer this, but I don't believe that there's that much traffic to require that.
I'll try to answer that as best I can. Being on Milwaukee County Highway, we'd probably have to work with county staff if they would need it. But under my understanding of the actual site and what's been used, the amount of traffic that's created on a daily basis and hourly basis would never meet any needs or warrants for a stop sign installation on Rawson Avenue at that driveway.
Okay.
Do they currently bring the, I think they currently bring the cement trucks through there. They stage it, they enter that way now, don't they?
I
Yes,
believe
sir.
you're
That is correct, Mayor. And in the past, that's where they've entered and leave the site for their past crushing operations.
Yeah. My concern is coming because it seems from this operation is going to be a couple sites like Lori mentioned. So they're going to be increase of trucking going in and out, and with disrupting traffic, maybe that would be warranted.
Justin can probably speak on this behalf, but I don't believe that extra project is going to create any more traffic.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Justin.
Yes.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, so the truck traffic is anticipated to be no more than it's been in years previous, and we've had no issues, no accidents, no complaints at the entrance off of Rawson Avenue.
Okay, sounds good. That addressed my questions. Nothing
Thank you,
further.
Matt.
Okay. Is that it, Christine?
Yes, that's it for me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Matt, anything?
I have no questions.
Okay, Dawn,
Nothing for me.
Greg,
I have no concerns. I think Lori stated it. They've done this previous years and there's been no complaints or anything, so I have no issues.
okay, Chris,
None for me either.
okay, Don,
No questions or concerns.
and Fred.
Yeah, I just have a question about protecting a city drain system with the runoff that they may have from the rain.
Yeah, they're gonna have some, oh, let me find it.
Sure, we're requesting that they put inlet protection in just to
Yeah.
capture some of that silt runoff.
I forget which one where it is. Yeah. Yeah, and good catch, everybody. That is critical. We don't want that entering our waterways. So, yeah, when I used to service quite a bit of quarries similar to this where they did crushing, and they would actually dredge every year because that does build up from the lime and the scale and everything else. So, and they don't do a washing operation, so it's strictly a natural runoff. But good catch. Are they working with the water department to what those protections would be, Lori? Do you know that? Or Matt?
This is the first time we've been able to really talk about it. So,
Okay.
but we do, we've worked very well with Justin in the past, and
Okay.
we will work with him.
Okay. Okay, Fred, does that kind of answer your question?
Sure. Thank you.
Okay. Fred's thought process was just like mine. That was my only question. It's been answered. So with nothing else, if there's no further conversation, oh, I guess just Mike, Assistant Chief Havey, any concerns from your end on this? This is a different situation for you guys as well.
We don't have any concerns over this.
Okay. Thank you. With that being said, motion?
Can I move that the Plan Commission approves the temporary use permit for a temporary crushing operations at 841 West Rawson Avenue with the following conditions. 1, that all applicable building and fire codes are in effect. 2, that the hours of operation for crushing be limited to Monday through Friday between 7 a.m. and 4 p.m. 3, that the temporary use shall expire on December 31st, 2021. 4, that crushing is limited to Ozenga concrete. No materials from other properties or work sites shall be brought to the site for crushing. 5, that on-site airborne dust and debris control measures, example, water applications, are utilized throughout the operation. 6, that the stockpiles are restricted to the locations as shown on the approved site plan and may not exceed 30 feet in height. 7, that any truck traffic associated with the temporary use is restricted to state and county highways. 8, that a street sweeper is utilized minimum of once per day. 9, that storm drain protection be utilized to minimize suspended soil solids from entering the city's drainage system. 10, that the property is returned to its original condition, all temporary equipment and stockpiles removed within 14 calendar days following the expiration of the temporary use permit.
Guzekowski, I'll second.
Okay, roll call starting with myself. Bukevich, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Hold aye.
Seifert, aye.
Hannah, I.
Sullivan, I.
Grillo, I.
Laura, guy.
Okay, that'll get us to adjournment. Before we adjourn, I just want to thank staff, Lori, Carrie, and everybody else in the office. Matt, you as well. Very well prepared that we can go through these things as quickly and as well as we did. And we always have pretty heavy agendas, and they always leave us in great shape. And that goes for you too, Tom, on IT. Great job. I think you're coming to the end. Well, you're never really to the end of it, but we do go back in person the next meeting. Am I correct, Carrie?
That's what we've been told. It hasn't been confirmed yet, but please plan for May 11th to be in person in the council chambers. There will be a component that's virtual for participants, but we will be in person.
And Carrie did put out a seating chart. So if you have a preference of where you'd like to sit, please email or forever hold your peace. How's that? That'll get us to adjournment. So motion to adjourn, somebody.
Grillo moves to adjourn at 6:42.
Seifert seconds.
Roll call, starting with Alderman Guzekowski.
Guzekowski, aye.
Hold aye.
Seifert, aye.
Hannah, I.
Sullivan, I.
Grillo, I.
Laura, guy.
Bukevich, aye. Good night, everybody, and have a great week. Spring is here for sure.